There are a lot of Switch 1 games that got free updates that play beautifully on the Nintendo Switch 2. And so that's what I wanted to come in today and talk about, because it's really important to get some of these games for free. These patches are free patches that play on the Switch 2. And we've already seen some of the controversy with Nintendo charging like, all right, $5 for like an Animal Crossing update for the Switch 2. That's weird. Like, a few bucks here, a few bucks there. We feel like we're being nickel and dimed all the time. But actually, there are plenty of games that got totally free updates that now play like 100 times better on the Switch 2. And this is important because we've all seen how messy these cross-generation launches can get. Some companies just slap a new logo on the box and then charge you $10. Some do nothing at all, and then just hope that like backwards compatibility will just cover the whole conversation. But Nintendo, along with a handful of third-party publishers, has quietly built a nice list of original Switch 1 games getting the official free Switch 2 upgrades. Not fake upgrades, not, well, maybe it runs a little bit better because the hardware is stronger. No, I'm actually talking about real patches, real upgrade packs, and actual improvements. So here are 20 Switch 1 games that get a free real Switch 2 upgrade. Get your pen and paper ready. So let's start with number 1, Big Brain Academy. This is brain versus brain. Now, my kids, my daughter was interested in this game, and hey, I'm happy to have her play this one. Get a bigger brain, I guess. This is one, it's not too flashy, but it absolutely counts, of course. So Nintendo gave it game share support for party mode, which means that up to 4 people now can jump in locally or online via the game chat function. And the game chat function, I've heard from so many people, including my kids, they absolutely love it. Being able to communicate with their friends right through it. It's like having like a cell phone built right in to the Switch 2, and to be able to share this game and be able to play some different brain games. That's awesome. Now, that may sound small next to resolution boosts and HDR, but this is exactly the kind of game that benefits from just being easier to like throw in front of family or kids, a room full of people without any friction to it. And frankly, who cares about like better resolution for brain games, right? At the end of the day, who cares? All right, number 2 on the list, Clubhouse Games, 51 worldwide classics. Again, this is not about pushing pixels. It's about making an older social game more useful on new hardware. So Nintendo's free update adds all sorts of things. It adds game share support for up to 34 of the games, with up to 4 people being able to play those games. That's smart. So it turns this game, whether it's backgammon or whatever you're going to play in there, Clubhouse Games, the game that you bought once and you totally forgot about it. You're like, maybe I bought this thing, it's buried deep within your like eShop library that you paid for. Well, now it's something you can actually get a second life on the Nintendo Switch 2. And these things are a lot of fun to be able to take off the controllers and set it down and be able to play a whole bunch of different games with the family. Like if you're on a long car ride or something like that, be able to play some chess or something. Not bad. All right, number 3 on the list, Game Builder Garage. This one actually is pretty interesting because Nintendo didn't just like clean up the image quality, actually added Joy-Con 2 and mouse support. And for a game that's literally built around tinkering, dragging, placing, experimenting, mouse control makes a ton of sense. And this feels less like a token patch and more like the game is finally getting an input method that really suits it. And actually hope Nintendo takes more advantage of mouse control, because I think it's actually pretty awesome, especially if you've got a desk handy, that you have your Nintendo Switch 2 dock like on your desk with a nice monitor, and you can sit down and just play some really awesome sort of point and click games. I think mouse control is actually a really killer feature, and I hope some more third-party companies take advantage of it. All right, number 4 on my list, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. This is the first game that my little girl beat on the Nintendo Switch 1, and Captain Toad gets one of the most meaningful Nintendo free updates here. Improved image quality, HDR support, game share support for the full set of courses in this game with 2 players. And that matters because Captain Toad is one of Nintendo's most visually charming games. It's beautiful to look at. This sort of beautiful puzzle solving cubes and everything. It's really special. It's also one of the easiest to recommend to like non-hardcore players. My daughter took to it immediately and loved it, solving all of these different puzzles and everything. So now you've got cleaner visuals plus easier co-op mode. It's exactly the right kind of upgrade. So good for them for that big update. Number 5 on my list, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This is one of the more modest of the upgrades, but still, Nintendo's patch is focused on improved image quality. It honestly runs beautifully now, and that's okay. Just the image quality's improved, great. This is one of those evergreen family platformers that lives forever in our libraries. Obviously, it has gone on sale quite a bit. That's actually when I picked it up. It has a really nice, cleaner presentation on the Switch 2, and gives this like older platformer. It's not like the most beloved in all of the platformers. Certainly, like Super Mario Brothers Wonder is a much better game, but this is still really, really charming. Not every upgrade needs new bells and whistles. Sometimes sharper image quality is the whole point, so I'm happy about that. All right, at number 6, Animal Crossing New Horizons. This one's a little bit of a tricky one because there was the 3.0 update that came out in January, and yes, it'll provides updates and new features and all sorts of new things that will play on the Switch 2. It also plays on the Switch 1. So, to be clear, this is a free update that brings new content, but it doesn't necessarily add any new visuals or faster loading times. You have to pay for that upgrade. So yes, there is a free upgrade for Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Switch 2, technically, with some new features, again, like some Lego furniture and and some new things obviously in the game. But faster loading times and improved visuals are with the paid upgrade, which is about $5 in the United States, or $4.98 or whatever in the United States if you want to get that one. So just to be clear, yes, free upgrade. However, there's a paid one that'll give you faster loading and better visuals. All right, number 7, ARMS. Now, this is one of a game that I never played. It looks like a ton of fun, and I really want to dig it out because back in the day, Nintendo actually sent me a copy of this when they sent me the original Nintendo Switch way back. Was it like 9 years ago now? Can you believe that? Holy smokes. And I never played it. I just played Zelda. Sorry. Anyway, this is a huge update. Nintendo's free update improves image quality, smooths out the frame rate, adds HDR support. Nintendo even specifically notes smoother performance when you have 3 or more players playing this game. So that tells you this wasn't just like a lazy compatibility bump. ARMS was always one of Nintendo's best looking early Switch games. I remember when they were showing it off, Nintendo was doing all the demos, of course. They were showing the, like all the 1, 2, 3 Switch game or 1, 2 Switch or whatever, that game. And then they were showing ARMS. ARMS was always more interesting to me. But now this visual overhaul with this hardware headroom that the Switch 2 has, maybe it's worth going back and picking up that game. Or, by the way, just going and picking up a cheap copy, if you can find a copy of it on the Switch 1, maybe you find it on eBay, just the cartridge or something like that. Now you get this free upgrade on the Switch 2. It really makes it into like a whole brand new game, which is pretty cool. Ringing in at number 8 is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Now, this is a smart upgrade because it targets exactly what people use the game for. So Nintendo says the Switch 2 update improves image quality, adds game share support for 2-player co-op, 1 player controlling Donkey Kong, the other controlling Diddy Kong or Dixie Kong. That makes this a lot of sense. The co-op platformers, of course, live and die by how easy they are to share, and Switch 2 is clearly being used to reduce that friction. And I know they rolled out their version initially was like kind of buggy, really had a lot of problems. And I know when this update came out, everyone was like, wait a minute, now the game is actually playable on the Switch 2? Now it makes sense for us to buy this game? So we had to wait for this update. But nevertheless, we got the cartridge, boom, pop it in. You get this really nice free update for the Switch 2. Again, no money has to exchange hands here, but you get all sorts of better visuals and performance now on the Switch 2. All right, number 9. Oh, one of my favorite games. Kids loved it. We have so many fond memories of like Friday nights getting together and doing a big Splatoon 3 battle. Splatoon 3 gets improved image quality and a much smoother frame rate at the plaza, at the Grand Festival grounds. I actually like that Nintendo called out those spaces specifically because that's where players, like, you can see all the congestion happening there. So this isn't Nintendo promising some massive total rewrite. It's them targeting the areas where smoother performance would actually be felt by the community. I also wonder if we're going to see a specific Splatoon 3 version, of course, when that new Splatoon game comes out here very, very soon. We have, by the way, that's been one of those weird Nintendo releases where they've been like radio silent on it. So we haven't heard any updates at any of the most recent Nintendo events or directs or anything like that. So I'm hoping soon we'll hear something about the new Splatoon game because kids love it, but I'm hoping maybe we'll get a full, and look, probably there's going to be a paid Splatoon 3 version for the Switch 2. We'll see. They've done that, of course, now with a bunch of the other games. So maybe there'll be a specific Splatoon 3 version. Maybe it'll have some expanded DLC as well and make you want to go back and pay for it. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, you get at least a nice update for free on the Switch 2. All right, number 10. The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. This is one of the nicest, aesthetically beautiful win on this list. Nintendo's free update adds improved image quality, HDR support, and this game is built around this toy diorama art style, and that matters, right? It has to look like a toy, you know? Link's Awakening already had gorgeous style to it. This is one of my daughter's, my older daughter, one of her first games that she ever played on the Switch 1, which is great. She got it for Christmas a number of years ago. But always felt like the presentation could pop a little bit more with this better hardware. So this patch seems designed to do exactly that without asking players to like buy the game all over again. So a nice Zelda update. And speaking of Zelda, number 11 on my list, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. This one gets the same basic treatment, but actually a lot is changing here. And I love that they rolled this one out for free because the game just came out. Like, I feel like, you know, 8 months later we get the Switch 2, or 9 months later, whatever it was. So yes, this one gets a 4K resolution, enhanced visuals, locked 60 frames per second frame rate, also has all sorts of updates and improves the organizing of the echo list too. That was a big frustration for a lot of people, seeing like this vast like echoes list there. So now that gets all sort of rejiggered for the Switch 2. It just needed to make sure that the game takes advantage of the Switch 2 display. It's high resolution on televisions. So again, great update for a game that was already pretty pricey. So Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom looks beautiful on the Switch 2. All right, number 12, Super Mario Bros. 3D World and Bowser's Fury. This is one of the better Nintendo freebies because there's actually a lot going on here. So this patch actually improves image quality again, smooths out the frame rate across the package. There was always quite a few problems and bugs with the Bowser's Fury part of the game. So now we've got HDR support there. It adds game share support. Up to 4 people can play the Super Mario 3D World part. And Bowser's Fury also supports 2 players through game share. And that's a pretty healthy free upgrade for an already excellent package. And of course, really sort of get to experience what maybe the new 3D Mario game is going to look like in the Bowser's Fury world. All right, number 13. Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2. I have been playing the heck out of this game. I'm about in World 5 now on Super Mario Galaxy 2. So I already beat the first one. It plays like butter on the Switch 2, and I'm telling you, and Super Mario Galaxy 2 is even better. It's just gorgeous. Not only to play it in handheld, which is where I've been playing the majority of it. I'll get in bed and play like 1 or 2 levels before bed, but then playing it here on the 65-inch OLED television, it looks great because this is not just a free update. This has improved image quality across the board, adds Joy-Con 2 mouse support as well, which is fascinating because so Nintendo suggests thinking about this as like how an older pointer style interaction can be reinterpreted now on this new hardware, right? Because obviously you're trying to get a lot of the star bits. So do you want to use the Pro Controller? Do you want to actually sit down and actually use it in mouse mode? Do you want to use the Joy-Con separately? All of that. So this is not just, this is, I think, preservation for a game here. It's Nintendo lightly modernizing these games and the way that these games are controlled, but it just looks gorgeous. So nice little update there for Mario Galaxy games on the Switch 2. At number 14, Super Mario Odyssey. This is the first game that my son ever beat, and it's, I think, the first game that he ever got for Christmas, actually. So this was a Christmas morning gift many moons ago. It's just crazy to think that he's now 15 years old and about to drive a car. It's crazy. It really is crazy. And that this game is like 9 years old. Oh, where does the time go? Anyway, Odyssey. It's improved image quality. Also, HDR support, game share support for 2 players playing with one person controlling Mario, the other controlling Cappy. You can play it locally or online through game chat, which is really cool. It's a really nice little upgrade as well. Odyssey is already really like one of the crown jewels in the Switch library. It's an absolute must-play game. And now that I've been playing the Mario Galaxy games, I think I want to go back, because I really sat with him while he was playing it and beating it. But I think I want to go back and play that game again from beginning to end, now on the Switch 2 with all of these new features and how good it looks, because it's like taking an old masterpiece and making it relevant again. So really nice that they gave a nice free update for that classic game. Next up on my list, number 15. Boy, do these need it. Pokemon Scarlet. This is where the list really starts getting interesting, because Pokemon Scarlet and Violet weren't just games that could maybe look a little better. Nintendo's own support history for Scarlet and Violet explicitly talks about bug fixes that affected game progress. They're just totally broken parts of this game. And it's crazy now that we're seeing 10th generation Pokemon get announced last week, or 2 weeks ago, Pokemon Day, whatever it was. Now it's like, all right, this is 10th generation. Now we can see that you can make incredible graphics and you can make the visuals look amazing. Like, thank you. So now we can they took this feedback seriously, and they're like, we're going to give you some incredible visuals. So when Nintendo then gives Scarlet and Violet a free Switch 2 update with improved image quality, smoother movements, it's not like just a throwaway patch here. This is Nintendo saying, all right, this is one of the most technically troubled major releases on the original Switch, and they didn't do anything about it. We just kept like waiting for patches for this game, and they just didn't do anything about it. Like, yeah, people are going to buy it anyway, and it doesn't matter if it's like broken in parts and it looks awful in parts. Who cares? Well, now they care. And so now these games are actually playable on the Switch 2. All right, so that was 15 and 16, Scarlet and Violet. 2 games that got nice. See, I get away with 2 right there because they both get a huge Switch 2 upgrade. All right, number 17, Stardew Valley. This is one of the coolest third-party examples because it's a real free upgrade pack. Man, he just keeps cranking out these incredible updates for this game. And Nintendo says that existing Switch 2 owners can, of course, upgrade Stardew Valley Edition to the Switch 2 Edition for free, which is pretty awesome. And that's the power of like third party, like the loyalty of these fans for this developer. Now we get mouse controls, which is perfect. This is one of those games you could sit here at the desk, put it on your really nice screen at your desk, and and build your farm using mouse controls. Has local split screen for co-op as well, up to 4 players, online multiplayer for up to 8 players, game share support. So this is huge. This is like a big upgrade. This is not just a slightly sharper grass look. Improved visuals, all of these things for Stardew Valley. So really nice to see that. All right, number 18. I've been interested to get into the One Piece games, and maybe this is the one I might actually jump into. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. This is number 18 on the list. This is another legit free upgrade. It's exactly the kind of game where extra hardware muscle matters here. So Switch 2 Edition features more enemies on the screen at once, and the official upgrade pack says that it boosts frame rate, screen resolution, and that's a nice upgrade to this Muso style upgrade. So if you are going to revisit a game built around chaos, crowd clearing, a lot of stuff happening on the screen if you want more bodies on there, you want smoother action, you want a cleaner image on all of it. So there you go, a nice little upgrade for One Piece. All right, number 19. I played this one and completed it in 94 hours. I think I put into Hollow Knight. That's number 19 on my list, and I played it on the Switch 2. And this one's a big deal for a lot of people. So Nintendo, at their February 2026 partner showcase, said, yes, guess what? Upgrade to the Switch 2 Edition for free. Take that, Nintendo. Where you're charging $5 for an Animal Crossing update, like a Hollow Knight, Switch 2 Edition, free. These games are already, like Silksong, $20. So that's really great. And it was I played the Switch 1 version on the Switch 2 before this upgrade pack, and it was already like butter. It already played beautifully. So now we get enhanced resolution, higher resolution, improved frame rates. And yeah, there was definitely some spottiness when in some of the bigger boss battles and taking care of a bunch of enemies on the screen. You could definitely see like maybe a little bit of stuttering, but for the most part, I didn't see a problem at all. So great, give us that beautiful Switch 2 update for Hollow Knight, because it's one of the greatest platforming games of all time. I had a blast with it, and so cleaner, smoother, more polished. Yes, great, and it's free. Thank you, Team Cherry. Thank you. Thank you for not charging us. You guys are amazing. Number 20. This got a huge update, and I beat it on the Switch 1 before this update, and that is Red Dead Redemption. I downloaded the patch on the Switch 2, and it looks gorgeous. This might be the best, wait, hold on, really? Kind of example on the whole list? Because Red Dead Redemption on Switch can be upgraded to Switch 2 for free, enhanced graphics, HDR, mouse controls, your save data carries over. Really, really nice. And I have to say, it just looks gorgeous. I think they did an incredible job with this port to begin with on the Switch 1, and I had a blast. Yes, loading times are definitely slower, and you're not going to get that enhanced visuals of like the grass and the landscape, but it looks gorgeous. It looked great on the big screen too. I mean, when I played that Switch 1 on my big screen, I thought it looked great. Now the Switch 2, it takes it to a whole other level. And I love this idea of like rewarding existing owners instead of trying to treat every like generational bump like an excuse to like double dip. Like, let's go back to the well and charge you another $10 for it. So Red Dead Redemption on the Switch 1. And we keep hearing the rumors. It's been confirmed. I know there's been reports of speaking to developers who've been working on the Switch 2 version of Red Dead Redemption 2. So I just cannot wait. I'd love to have both of those games on the Switch 2. I'm very, very excited about it because I've never played Red Dead Redemption 2. So just waiting on that one. Just going to wait on that one. So the Switch 2 is not just like a new box for games, but a surprising number of these games got a nice big update for free. Let me know if down below, like what games are you hoping we can get a free upgrade patch for the Switch 2? And are you going to download any of these? It's worth it just to throw in the cartridge. If you got one of those old cartridges from your Switch 1, throw it in, connect it to the internet, and download all of these free patches so they run more beautifully on the Switch 2. So yeah, I thought it was worth coming back and looking at some of the free stuff because there's been a lot of bad press lately about them charging for $5 here, $10 there. So thank you guys so much for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.